Hi, you guys. Please share this video and tell people about it if you like it. I'm in a bit of a subscriber rut. I really want to get to 28,000 people, and I really need your help because I don't have any more time to go on anybody else's show right now. So please subscribe and tell people. Thank you. Hi, you guys. So better late than never. Here's my season 13 gossip dump for this week and episode 2 recap at the same time. I'm a day late, but I had a very good reason. I'm doing a few deep dives right now. They're very time consuming, but they're important to me because otherwise I can't give you guys the proper indication on things, and that's important. So I'm a little late on this one, but it's okay. Next week, I'll be right on time. So let's just start with the first scene, right? Erica Girardi meets Dorit in a Beverly Hills park for what looks like a romantic lunch, honestly, but it isn't. It's just two friends getting together. Dorit's like, I did not appreciate you saying that my husband and I have a bad relationship or not a strong relationship at BravoCon. I want you to know that the reason I'm really pissed about it is that our relationship is truly struggling, and I am going to play you the clip, okay? So you could just remember what she says, because at this point you've seen it. So let me just tell you what I think is really weird before I play this soundbite for you. Dorit is going to tell us that she's been robbed again. Okay. I got to preface this. Dorit has maybe been robbed 4 times, I think. Okay? The ones you guys will most be familiar with are 3. Ready? One was her first house that we find out later there's these bandits that are scoping out open houses, and they robbed Dorit's first house. Then she's robbed at gunpoint in a home invasion in her second house. And you know about that one. That was the one she's still recovering from the PTSD on. But I want to remind you that they never caught the guys that did that robbery. Now, she's going to tell you about a third one that happens to her because she's carrying $10,000 in cash for Christmas presents. Now, let me just tell you something, you guys. Last I checked, it's not 1954. It's 2023. And no matter how rich you are, you can use your phone by double-clicking it to pay any size bill and or a credit card. And nobody in their right mind uses cash to buy Christmas presents anymore, ever. It's ridiculous. It's like, do people even use cash anymore? I'm just saying, right? For a few reasons. Let me tell you why. Number 1, you don't get points. So you get money back if you buy with a credit card. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is they have warranties and fraud protection. And it's also not safe to walk around with large amounts of cash, ever. Like Beverly Hills, not Beverly Hills, whatever. This makes 0 sense from somebody who's been robbed twice and who has PTSD from a robbery. Okay, so I'm going to play it. Listen, I have to play it like this because I don't want the copyright infringement.
To make this right, because you mean a lot to me. And what I did was wrong. I have to fix this with you.
It's hard to watch, Erica.
I appreciate you saying that. No, I have to. It's non-negotiable for me.
So full of shit.
You know how much I love my husband. We had a really difficult year. He was spending a lot of time in London. He had a lot of business there. And it was a year that I needed him the most. He didn't feel protected. Well, I also didn't feel supported enough. And I didn't feel as connected. What you said would have hurt me and him any which way. But in particular, because... It had a much bigger impact. Yes. Had I known that PK and Dorit were in a rough spot, I would have never said what I said. I would have ruined somebody else's life. He's been the girl that soldiers on. That's who I am. That's who PK knows. Right. I definitely underestimated how big of a setback this last incident had on me. Yeah. Last Christmas was about 14 months after the home invasion.
Listen to this.
And I went to the bank. I took out $10,000 so I could have some money for Christmas gifts. I had my handbag in the shopping cart. When I got to the register, I realized that my handbag was gone. The whole year, in my marriage, in my life, in my emotions, it was very much like this. The police came down and they reviewed the video surveillance. They had discovered that I was followed by 3 men. That threw me right back into the throes of PTSD.
Now, I'm going to hold my feelings about why I think this is. I mean, I suppose you could contemplate that they have no credit. I mean, obviously, they've got an over $1 million tax lien, and maybe they have some other financial things we don't know about. And maybe she doesn't have a credit card. Could be, I suppose, bad credit. We don't know. That could make you carry cash. Two, they don't want to have their money on record. People use cash so they can hide transactions. I'm not saying that she was conscious of it, but it could be that's why PK handed her a stack of money and said, go buy Christmas presents. Thirdly, what? I mean, what is it? What's the third? Insurance, department store pays you back. I don't know. I don't know what the angle is here. I mean, either that or she is just not getting the hint that she's a public figure, flashing her money all over town, and she's a mark. Thank you, Alexa. And she's, a target, and she's just not getting it. So, doesn't improve her security system, doesn't act any more, careful. I'm just... what's it saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, I don't know, just you're an idiot. That's it. That's my saying. Let's just ask ourselves for a second, why is PK staying away from his wife that's been robbed so much in London all the time? That's another thing you could contemplate. I do, quite a bit. Yeah, I think of my ex. You know that story. So then we cut to a scene. It's a scene where Dorit is in the car with Kyle. They're supposed to be going to lunch, but Kyle is secretly taking Dorit to a surprise anniversary that they're going to celebrate this Pretty Woman themed thing, which is ironic in its own right because PK is making Dorit, Julia Roberts, the call girl character in the movie, which he thinks is very romantic, I guess. They're in the car. Dorit pushes Kyle to talk about her relationship with Mauricio. I can tell that Dorit is trying to send a secret message to Kyle in front of the cameras, which is if you don't want to talk about it, just say you don't want to talk about it, but I have to ask because the cameras are on and I know they want me to. And that was like a secret wink to Kyle. Kyle isn't very friendly in the car, and Dorit brings up the fact that she thinks maybe they're having marital problems because they haven't been posting a lot and they haven't seen Mauricio and Kyle in months as a couple, like them all together. Well, I would say that was about something else. I'd say there were 2 reasons for that. Reason number 1 was that I think Mauricio and Kyle realized that Dorit and PK were not good for their relationship, okay? Obviously, there were quite a few scenes where Mauricio really does seem on the edit, not ones that the fans pulled from previous episodes, although there were a ton of them, but even in the recent episodes of Dorit and Mauricio seemingly flirting. And I know Kyle, and if Mauricio hasn't been home a lot doing the agency and he hasn't been connecting with Kyle, she's going to be really on edge and jealous and upset, and she's going to start to see what maybe she blocked out, which is there's some chemistry between Mauricio and Dorit, and it's right in front of Kyle's nose, and it's not cute. Not at all, right? It's really not cute. I actually wish Kyle had been real and been like, I didn't like when my husband said you were the next best hot thing to me and to PK, and I didn't like how much you were touchy-feely with my husband last year, no matter how close we are as friends. It's not appropriate, especially with your husband being as old and what he looks like, and my husband being decently hot. And I say decently because I've lost some respect for Mauricio. I also think that Mauricio and PK don't like each other that much anymore. I do believe they've had a falling out over Mauricio having the Netflix show and PK having the Channel 4 show. I think there was a tiff that happened in all that. And I do think PK is now competing openly with the Richards. And that might be another reason everybody took a time out. It happens. I will say this. PK definitely dragged Kyle Richards in the Channel 4 show by saying Dorit was the queen of Beverly Hills. Okay? Defo. And if you haven't heard that story, you better go listen to the podcast I did with Freddie. I did leave that section for free in the podcast tab of my YouTube. If you want to go listen to it, just go like 3 down and you'll see it with Freddie. And that part I did leave free, so you could hear me make the case as to why I think it's Kyle. Anyway, I couldn't help but notice that even though PK was like, I'm so close with Kyle, he's dragging her in this episode and she's dragging him, which made me think, how close are you guys really? Now let's see what the gossip mill has been saying about PK and Dorit's relationship. I aggregated a bunch of it for you guys to see, so you can think about why this anniversary was such a bust, because no matter what PK did for Dorit, he borrowed her a $5 million necklace, and I do mean borrowed her. He got her some clothes that he probably borrowed too for her to wear to this event. And then she got ready on the fly in a regular room at the Regent. And it wasn't even like a big suite or anything like that. And then they had this really romantic dinner with roses, but it wasn't that PDA centric, which means the attraction doesn't seem to be that on. And I just didn't feel that much of a connection between PK and Dorit. And Dorit's kind of saying that she's still so in love with her husband, but she seems like not fun to be around at all. And she seems to want stability and control, and PK can't give it. So I still believe 100% they're over. Okay, now let me show you the receipts. I mean, can we talk about these blind items that all dropped in the same week? This one was blind item. This West Coast housewife and her husband are done. They are deciding whether to announce now or after the season ends. Too many hints on air, and it's impossible to hide anymore. Not who you think at all. Yeah, it's not Kyle and Mauricio, in other words. Remember this one? This was from 2022. Did anyone expect the snack housewife to admit to having an affair with the husband of another housewife? Someone should ask the pair about the Google phone numbers they each have. The snack housewife is Dorito. There was a clip of Dorit and PK being caught by the paparazzi out on a date, and they looked so, like, they were so awkward together, and I was like, okay. Like zero chemistry. Then there's this one. They've been living separate lives for about 2 months after she ended it, a source exclusively tells In Touch, adding that PK56 has been living at a hotel in Beverly Hills and was photographed leaving the property. Paul is apparently heartbroken. I wonder if it was the Regents, the Regency where they did the anniversary. Such a handsome guy. Then there's this one. An insider continues, she's been telling people that she fell out of love with him, but they agreed to keep it secret for now so it doesn't affect the show. I'd say Dorit's starting to catch on, and that is why this is ending. And she's trying to figure out how to do it because there's a lot to this, right? They have 2 children together. PK and her are doing a show in December on stage in the UK at these theaters, Peter Pan with Boy George. She's got what happens if she leaves PK and to Beverly Hills Housewives. She just appeared on his Channel 4 show. They have like a tax lien together that they can't just dump. She relies on him for some things still financially. So it's complicated. It's complicated. So if you're expecting this is going to be like, see you later, alligator, it isn't going to be that simple. But I'd say, as I said on last week's video, it's donezo. So I always dreamed that Portia and my son would end up together. They used to like to play together. Portia's turning 15 in this episode, and John, my son, just turned 14. But John is on his way to MIT, so he's a good catch, Portia. Just saying. Keep him in mind. Anyway, so we go to Portia's birthday, and it should be a really happy affair, except a doctor, Estrella, says, you know, Kyle, what's going on? I see too much of this in the tabloids. I usually don't believe it, but I do believe it this time. What's going on? She's like, are you and Mauricio having trouble? Mauricio seems concerned by the mail being everywhere. That was weird. I thought that was kind of odd. Like, was there something you were scared might get caught on camera? Then Kyle's like stressed and upset and not having fun, it appears, and they're fighting over this stupid tattoos again. And Kyle says to Mauricio's mom that Mauricio has a tattoo, which is really terrible. And I'll tell you why. Because in the Jewish religion, many Jewish people feel that tattoos are taboo and that they're not allowed in the Bible. And so Jewish people can be denied even burial in a Jewish cemetery if they have tattoos. It's a very serious thing. And the fact that Kyle just threw that out there at the mom without asking Mauricio was so odd. It was almost like she wanted to hurt Mauricio. It was actually like that. So you guys know that Mauricio is being sued and has been being sued for a really long time from a gentleman by the name of Hakeem, who, that's his last name, had put an offer in on a property that was being sold by Mauricio and the agency on behalf of the Justice Department. The Justice Department had requested $10 million for restitution from the African prince named Teodoro Ngima Obiang Mang. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Teodoro's father is the president of Equatorial Guinea, a republic of West Africa. And so he's obviously very corrupt. I've heard he's pretty evil too. But needless to say, Mauricio was to sell this house, liquidate it, pay $10 million to the Justice Department, and then the rest was supposed to go back to Equatorial New Guinea because as additional restitution to the country because they used funds illegally out of the country to buy the home in the first place. Anyway, a gentleman made an offer, I think his name's Sam Hakeem, and the offer was the highest offer received, and a broker or an agent is obligated by law, so not to lose their license, to present all offers to sellers. And in this case, what Mr. Hakeem is saying happened is Mauricio did not put his offer forth to the seller, and instead Mauricio took the listing for his own interest by selling it to a company he had an affiliation with that he could then turn around and flip it a few years later and make $40 million, which is exactly what he did. So Mauricio has said that, they are out of time due to statute of limitations, and therefore the case should be thrown out. Mauricio appeared to be getting away with it until this text message appeared in the evidence, which Mr. Hakeem produced. It said this, quote, "We could have flipped it for 20 more without even a facelift," Siegel told Hakeem in a 2017 text message when they apparently read about the transaction in an online article. "If the seller thought that Mauricio was truly helping them as their agent, I do not find that to be wise choice," Segal added. "The seller is not kosher, and Mauricio could be playing with fire. Top 10 most dangerous people in the world." Anyway, I don't know if that proves Mauricio guilty or not, but something to consider. By the way, you guys, make sure you watch the lives I have coming up. I have one coming up every single day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I don't do that unless it's really good. Now, what are we doing that we're doing these many lives? Well, Thea, your moms are watching, is at BravoCon 2023 in Vegas, and she's going to a bunch of events, and she's also a VIP at some of the parties, etc. And she is going to be reporting back to me all the things happening there on the ground. And also we'll talk about any breaking stories that are coming out of BravoCon. So I hope you join us for that. It'll be 12:30 EST and 9:30 a.m. PST, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Monday, I'll be doing a live with Bravalita. She's the one who broke the Chris Bassett cheating scandal story. She discovered all of the evidence to show that something may happen, and from there, chaos ensued. So I can't wait to talk to her about her observations and what caused all this craziness in Real Housewives of Potomac. And as I understand it, it's going to be a storyline in the upcoming season, as well as it was already. So got to learn all of it. So then we see conversations between Sutton and Garcelle. Garcelle is crying that she maybe dropped the ball a little bit with her son and she feels guilty about it. Sutton reminds her that all teenagers can be assholes and also says to her, listen, you know, I don't want to relinquish my power to any man because I've done that before and I finally got my power back and I'm so scared to lose it. But she still wants to date somebody. So she interviews with a dating consultant. And the dating consultant basically says, are you willing to let the man be the man? And Sutton's like, no, not at all. And it kind of explains why she's a one date wonder, because she's just a little awkward and she kind of says things that may be deemed unattractive on dates. And she also won't relinquish any control to the man. So she kind of makes the guy feel like a loser, I guess. And with her money, I'd say that's probably compounded. So I'm going to just guess that Sutton won't meet anybody ever. But whatever, they lead us wondering if she ever will. But the answer is no, she won't. Not in LA. Okay. Sutton's been showing off her newly flat stomach. I don't know for what, but maybe she's been not drinking so much. That would be good to hear. She hopefully is taking good care of herself. She looks like she might be working out. So that's nice. Funny that Kyle said that Mauricio's other woman is the agency. I wonder if that's symbolic. The women all get excited about the color green and head off in a private jet that's paid by production, but Kyle pretends she bought it, and essentially fly off to Vegas. They have little gift bags in their seats that looks really nice with their names on it, and the women are so excited, and Crystal gets a $3,000 sapphire necklace from the women that's like a giant moon, and she's really excited. And then Erica says she's not going to fight with the woman because she's now religious and celebrating Lent, and nobody believes her. And Kyle's like, boy, you could have used that religion in the last few seasons. I thought it was a little bit off color, that joke. I can't stand anything related to Erica and the Tom Girardi situation. It makes me want to kill her. Anyway, we move on and the women land and there's 5 Bentleys that are pretty cheesy waiting for them. And they get in all excited and then they drive what they call mansions. So like each, when I say what they call, it's because in Vegas there are rooms that are called mansions. And they're for whales, generally speaking, but the women get one for the show, which is cool. And a mansion is on the ground floor level of any of the casinos, and they're between 10 and 15,000 square feet with pools, and they always have them. And I was lucky enough to be in one for a weekend. It was so fun. It was like, oh my gosh, so crazy. But the Cirque du Soleil people, Jason from Up and Adam can tell you all about that. Jason Barant was, we talked about that. It was a big weekend. Anyway, so we get a tease for what's going to happen later that evening. And the tease is that Sutton is going to freak out because Erica, I guess, pretends to have her coochie eaten out by one of the dancers on stage. At least that's what the edit shows. And this upsets her so much that she wants to leave. And the women get in a fight and they're obviously overly drunk and tired and irritable. I'd say Sutton has probably drank too much at this point. And it's Crystal's birthday, and this is like a Magic Mike evening that we're about to see. I don't know how it's going to go. Whatever. That's it. That's where we are in episode 2. Kyle said recently on a show that she thinks her house is haunted and she hears footsteps in her house. Maybe that's impacting her relationship with Mauricio. Let's call Zach Baggins and get Ghost Adventures in there to fix it. All right, you guys. I hope you enjoy this Gossip Dump recap, and I will do an epic one next week. This week I had to go a little light on the dive, but next week I'll go crazy. I'm doing Matthew Perry right now, and I'm trying to understand Matt Mann, and I'm really close, and I've been working on it for like 12 hours, and I think I've cracked it, and it's going to be on the pod this Sunday. I'm so excited because I need to know what Matt was talking about the few weeks leading up to his passing. I have to know.